So I want to speak about Purim, so we can get psyched up, get inspired, and be able to use this time. It's a holy, holy time. It's an awesome, awesome time. And Purim can, if not understood properly, it can be very misused, unfortunately. And there's so much something in the air that we're living in historical times, and I'm really feeling that this is a v'nafochu kind of year. We're seeing revolutions. And I'm just excited about the fact that there's going to be a new reality that I've never experienced before, that we're building towards a situation that we don't have to be in constant danger of enemies trying to kill us, which is unheard of. It's mamish amazing, and it's mamish certain a turnover of everything that we're used to, and so to understand what Purim is all about. And the first thing we need to know is the Purim is the climax. Purim is something, it's something awesome, that it's a build-up from the very beginning of the year. The first holiday in the Jewish calendar is Pesach, and you get bigger and bigger and holier and more excited. And after Shavuos, and then you have Rosh Hashanah, and then Yom Kippur, and then Sukkot, and then Chanukah. And then the last hurrah is Purim. So like we're ending with a bang. Okay, so by definition, so this is something which is a climax. It's something which is the biggest thing that we've seen the entire year, and secondly, this is the one time that we have a mitzvah of crazy we Okay, this is the only time like we have a mitzvah to have 4 cups of wine, but like you can use grape juice, we have a mitzvah to get a little bit happy every yontiv, but like there's the only time that there's a mitzvah of mishta v'simcha, there's a mitzvah of at lo yada, and there's something very clearly that this is more than everything else, that the mitzvah of simcha and the rejoicing, the celebration of Purim is above and beyond anything that we're familiar with. So I want to try to understand, what is this all about? What is that we're trying to tap into that justifies that we should have this awesome celebration? And I think it's very clear that from the fact that the mitzvah is ad lo yada, so Chazal are telling us that it all starts from our consciousness. It all starts from the way we experience life, the way we think about life, the way that we experience life. It starts in our head. And there's something about Purim that is supposed to help us to change the way that we look at everything, and by doing so then that is going to allow us to access this amazing craziness of happiness, the craziness of simcha, this craziness of v'nafochu, and it's through our mindset that we're able to get to this kind of happiness. So I want to speak about two different ideas that they're both related to one another, but it's two different levels, and they're both extremely powerful and extremely very life-changing. It starts like this: that there's a sphere that is connected to the holiday of Purim, and that is the sphere of Netzach. Okay, the Arizal says that the Shalosh Regalim are corresponding to the Sefirot of Chesed Gvur Tiferes, and then the two mitzvot d'Rabbanan, the two chagim d'Rabbanan of Chanukah and Purim are corresponding to Netzach and Hod, and that Purim is corresponding to Netzach and Chanukah is corresponding to Hod. So what does Netzach mean? What does Netzach mean? And for any Breslovers among us, so Netzach is something which is connected to Rabbi Nachman, because Rabbi Nachman was fond of saying that Nachman itself is the gematria of Netzach. Okay, so there's something about that he felt connected to this energy of Netzach. What is Netzach? Netzach means to be victorious. So of course, this is the name of the game. This is our Purim Fest 2026. That we're overcoming our enemies, and that's really what Purim is all about. Purim is all about being victorious over our enemies. That we have this gzera that like people wanted to kill us, and we defeated them and we destroyed them. Okay, and that's really what Netzach is all about. So the word Netzach, to be victorious, requires that somebody is trying to stop your victory. You can't have a victory unless you have an enemy, right? So really, the only way that you can have a Netzach is only if you have somebody who's trying to stop you. And Netzach is that despite any adversity, I'm going to overcome it. I'm going to fight him. I'm going to beat him dead. And that's what Netzach. That's what Netzach is all about. That's why we find the term of Netzach by Mechias Amalek. That it says, we read in the Parsha Zachor, we read in the Haftarah, that Shmuel Tashal, that regarding the mitzvah of destroying Amalek, so he says, Netzach Yisrael, lo yinachem v'lo yishaker. That he uses the term that Hashem is Netzach Yisrael, Hashem is the champion of Israel. And that's why on Purim, which is the other time that we have about Mechias Amalek, so we have Shuasa Hayasa Lanetzach. Okay, you are their salvation for Netzach. We point out the Netzach whenever we're talking about Mechias Amalek. So on a simple level, so Amalek is that guy that he's the party pooper. He's the guy that we can't really be so happy because our enemies are around. We try to make the most of the good times, but as long as there's Amalek, so our salvation can't be full, right? So but really Netzach is really much deeper than that, and really that when we're talking about the Netzach of Purim, so it's not just that we're destroying our enemies, that we're making that they aren't here, but rather there's something special about turning the darkness into light. Okay, and that is something which is brand new. This is something which is only on Purim we can do such a thing, and it's something that I learned from a teaching from Rabbi Yonasan Eibeshitz, that he writes in the Sefer called Yaris Dvash the following: that there's a Gemara, and the Gemara talks about a parak of Tehillim, and the parak Chavbet in Tehillim, and it talks about that this is a reference to Purim. And this is actually the Shir Shayam that we say on Purim, is Parak Chavbet of Tehillim, Lemnatzach Ayalat HaShachar. And that Ayalat HaShachar is a reference to Esther. One of my daughters, so her birthday was last Shabbos, and so we named her Hadass. Because Hadass is like after Esther, that's because Esther was Hadassah. But before we decided on Hadass, we were contemplating naming her Ayalat HaShachar, because Ayalat HaShachar is also Esther. And we liked the name so much that we saved that later for my youngest daughter, so we named her Ayalat HaShachar. But Ayalat HaShachar is Esther. So the Gemara says, why is Ayalat HaShachar? Ayalat HaShachar is that first beam of dawn is called Ayalat HaShachar. Shachar is the morning, and the Ayalat is the first beam of light. And so the Gemara says, why is Esther called Ayalat HaShachar? Ma Shachar Soif Kol HaLayla, Af Esther Soif Kol HaNisim. The Gemara says that just like the morning is the end of the night, so too Esther is the end of all the miracles. So Rabbi Yonasan Eibeshitz asked that it seems very backwards. That if we're comparing two times of situations, two kinds of ways of experiencing life, one with miracles and without miracles, and we're comparing that to day and night, so I would think that when we live with miracles, so that's called day. When we live without miracles, that's called night, right? And in the Gemara, it seems to be backwards, because Esther is the end of the miracles, and it's just like the morning is the end of the night. So the Gemara is comparing miracles to night and not miracles to day. That's so backwards. So he explains something very crazy, and that is like this: that the first thing that the first thing that we need to know, about the Purim is that Purim is miracle within nature. That what's unique about Purim is, as opposed to Hanukkah, that Hashem is defying nature. He's having that one flask of oil that's lasting for 8 days. So in Purim, everything is through politics. Everything is, it very easily could have looked about as if it's by chance. And that Hashem is being present in our nature, in our natural life, in just our everyday occurrences. And He's the one that's influencing the leaders to do what they said. He's the one that's influencing the bus to come exactly when it was supposed to come and come late. And He's influencing our friends to say everything that it seems completely natural, but it's really all Hashem. And this is the nature of the holiday of Purim. This is Nisim Nistarim. That hidden miracles is all about that Hashem is present in every single element of our lives, and that's why there's a beautiful thing from the Vilna Gaon, that the first Mishnah in Megillah says like this. The first Mishnah says that Megillah Nikreit Yud Aleph Yud Bet Yud Gimel Yud Dalet Tet Vav, that there's different situations that possibly the Megillah could be read on the 11th, the 12th, the 13th, 14th, or the 15th of Adar, depending on the situation. Lo pachot v'lo yoter. Not less and not more. So the Gra says like this, that Megillah Nikreit Yud Aleph Yud Bet Yud Gimel Yud Dalet Tet Vav, 11 plus 12 plus 13 plus 14 plus 15 is 65. What's 65? The name of Hashem, Aleph Dalet Nun Yud, that we pronounce. So that's 65. So Megillah is about the fact that Hashem is master of the world. And master of the world is that he's within our experience. That's the name that we're allowed to pronounce, that name, because it's something that we relate to. That we have a boss. Hashem created us. We listen to his rules. That's Hashem. That's the way that Hashem is very, very obvious in our experience of life. So that's the name of Hashem being master. And that's what Megillah is all about. Lo pachot, what's less than 11, 10. V'lo yoter, what's more than 15, 16. So 10 plus 16 is 26. 26 is Havaya. That's the name that we do not pronounce. Why don't we pronounce it? Because that's the name which is beyond this world. That's the name which is the underlying energy behind everything. But we have no connection to it. We have no relationship with Havaya because it's so infinite. Okay? So that's what it means. Lo pachot v'lo yoter. So Megillah is all about that Hashem is not doing these crazy kind of miracles, but rather everything is within something which is natural, something which is very relatable. So now Rabbi Ebeshitz continues so that's why when you have a situation, when you have a time in history that sometimes there's miracles, so when you want to see Hashem, so what do? You wait for a miracle. And when the miracle comes, that's awesome. But when the miracle's not there, then you're just waiting. And that's a lot of darkness, that's a lot of waiting. But then comes Esther, and Esther represents the beginning of a new era. And in this new era, so there aren't open miracles. So instead of having open miracles, so what's the solution? So instead of having open miracles, what we have is that Hashem is making himself present in every single thing. That in every single occurrence, in every single interaction, in every single accident, so that's Hashem. So once you're able to see Hashem in the mundane, once you're able to see Hashem in every single occurrence, so then everything is Hashem. There's no waiting. There is no darkness. There is no frustration because everything is Hashem. And so you have this non-stop relationship to the point that now it's light, and before it was actually before it was darkness. Like the time of miracles is compared to darkness, and the time that I see Hashem in everything, so that's light. Okay, that's mamish a crazy thing. So this is the special happiness that we have on Purim. That.
Can you just go back? My brain's a little bit tired because I'm hearing waiting is also stuckness.
We're about to talk about that. Okay? So.
I just wanted to, rehear what you said. Mm-hmm.
No, I think you'll see in a second that. So with the special simcha of Purim is that we see Hashem in the mundane. We know that there is no such thing as an accident. There is no such thing as a coincidence. And every single thing that's happening, every interaction is mamash Hashem running my life to the nitty-gritty details. And once we come to that, so then we come to this epiphany that actually the darkness turns into light. Now, what does that mean? That the Rabbi Nachman was famous for saying that en yush ba'olam klal. Okay, there's no such thing as despair. So it always bothered me. What did he mean? It's a strange way to say it. There's no such thing as despair. He should have said, "Don't despair." That makes sense. Don't despair. What do you mean? There's no such thing as despair. Of course, there's such a thing as despair, but people actually give up, right? And so I've had different ideas over the years, but I was thinking about this today, that really, in a certain way, when you despair, so it helps you to reach a rock bottom, and once you reach the rock bottom, then you're able to get to hope. So actually, the despair wasn't really despair. Really, despair is simply a stepping stone to get to hope. Okay, and the same thing we can apply this to many different areas of life. That lots of people, so they're scared to start a new project. Why are they scared to start a new project? Because they're scared of failure, right? But what if there's no such thing as failure? What if failure is simply a stepping stone towards success? So then I have nothing to be scared about, because there's no such thing as a success that doesn't have a failure before. Practically, if you talk to anybody who ever had a success, so they all had many had many failures before that, and that's the only way that they came to the success. Like I've told you, like Thomas Edison, he had like 800 different trials before he was able to figure out the light bulb, and like anybody who figured out anything. So before they figured it out, so they had many things that they tried and they failed, and the only reason why they were able to succeed is because they were able to get further from that failure. And when you look at it from the perspective that my failure isn't a failure, my failure is simply bringing me closer to my goal. Rabbi Nachman says the same thing about shidduchim. Rabbi Nachman says that everybody has a certain amount of soulmates, and then every time that you meet somebody that didn't work out, it wasn't that it was a mistake. It was that this was one of the people that you were on your derech to reach the right one. So you needed to reach these other ones because they did something to you, they fixed you in some kind of way, and made you into the person that now you're ready to find your final soulmate. But really the other ones were also soulmates, because you wouldn't have become the person that you were ready for your real soulmate unless you have written the secondary soulmate before that. So from this perspective, there's no such thing as a failure, because the failure is simply a step closer to success. Okay? In the same vein, so there's no such thing as a delay, because a delay is simply an opportunity to prepare yourself. There's times for preparation. There's no such thing as I'm stuck. There's no such thing as like I'm supposed to be somewhere else. If I'm here, so then I'm supposed to be preparing. That's precisely what I'm supposed to be. If I miss my bus and I'm like waiting for 20 minutes for the next bus to come. So like, when I realized that now, if Hashem put me in the situation, that I'm supposed to be preparing for something else, I'm supposed to find something to do with these 20 minutes, and I'm just like feeling done, that Hashem wants me to be doing something else than what I thought I was supposed to be doing. There's no such thing as rejection. There's no such thing as rejection, because if I know that everything is a journey, if I know that every single element of my life is Hashem directing me towards my actual goal that He wants me to get to. So what's rejection? Rejection is simply closing the wrong door in order that I'm able to open up the right door. Right? And so anybody that just wants to live life without any rejection, so then they're going to obviously be going in the wrong paths, because what's the chances that like everything that we pick is our first choice and everything, is our first whims and everything is exactly where we're supposed to get. So unless we're God, so then we're going to need some rejections until we get to the place that we actually were supposed to get. So once we appreciate the fact that rejection is actually not a rejection, it's simply a redirection because we're going the wrong way, so then there's no such thing as rejection. Not only that, but there's no such thing as confusion. You know, sometimes a person learns something or figures something out and realizes something, and then now I'm just confused. And so if I thought that I was supposed to always understand, so then if I'm going with my pre-Purim perspective, that I see Hashem in the miracles, then when I'm confused, then I have darkness, right? But from the perspective of Esther, so confusion is actually the only way to get to a higher level of understanding. There's a beautiful teaching from Ibn Nachman. He says, but it says by Matan Torah in Parshas Mishpatim, Moshe nigash el ha'arafel asher sham ha'elokim. That Moshe, so he ascended to the fog, because that's where Hashem was. So Ibn Nachman says that the fog is a metaphor for when things are foggy, when things are not clear. And if a person only wants to live with clarity, so then he's never going to understand anything, because the real things in life so require that a person gets to a certain level of confusion. And the only way that a person can actually improve, can actually elevate the way that he looks at life, is only if he's willing to confuse himself, he's willing to question the assumptions that he's had until now, and appreciate the fact that, well, I have to just reassess everything. I have to, now nothing that I knew, nothing that I thought I knew, nothing that I was used to makes sense anymore. Because I've learned too much that now it doesn't make any sense. And so now I need to start from scratch and make a new core beliefs of how reality works, that hopefully in this new belief system, so things are going to somehow make sense. So if I'm never going to be willing to get confused, what's it mean to not get confused? To not get confused means that there's plenty of people that don't get confused. How do they not get confused? Because you tell them something that confuses them, and they say, that's nonsense. That can't be. Why can't it be? Because the way that okay, so I guess we'll break here for a while. So if every time that somebody says something, the question something that we already thought, then we just reject it. So then we can live life with a very simplistic, the mental models that we grew up with, and we'll end up having a simple life. We'll never get confused. But on the other hand, we'll go through life with the same mentality, with the same core beliefs that we had when we were 5. Right? So really, when you look at it like this, so confusion is the only way to get to clarity, because who wants to live life with their 5-year-old beliefs? And the only way that we're ever going to outgrow our 5-year-old beliefs is only if we're going to allow ourselves to be confused. Right? So that's why, like somebody once said that about their experience in seminary, that they're like they summarized their experience in seminary, that I got answers to all the questions that I had, but then I got even more questions. Okay, and that's really beautiful. If you're going to a place that I'm not willing to get confused, that now I have all the answers, then you're actually never going to grow. So the true growth requires confusion, and so that's what Rabbi Nachman says, that it's a very beautiful thing to get confused, and that's the only way really to come close to Hashem. Okay? No, it's like a siren. Now it's a siren? All right. Okay. So this is the first element of Netzach, of Purim. The Netzach is the overpowering, the darkness is overpowering Amalek. And the first way that we overcome the darkness is by recognizing that darkness isn't actually darkness. Darkness is simply the way that we get to light. Okay? And this is what Netzach is all about. Because Netzach it's like visually, it's like a spiral. That Netzach is that we don't go in circles, we go in upward spirals. So every time that we're going another time around, another dip. So it's not a dip. It's actually just another way of getting higher. And the only way that we can actually grow is only by having these circles. And that's why this is no way of looking at the cycles of life, whether it's the cycles of failure, whether it's the success of the cycles of confusion, whether it's the cycles of despair. And there's no such thing as something that's not getting us somewhere. And therefore everything, by definition, is bringing us somewhere. But the truth is that it gets even deeper. And to understand this second point of what it means, that the Netzach, what it means to overcome the darkness. So there's something that I think if we look deep into the same parak of Tehillim that we started with, the parak Chavbet of Lamentzach Hayat HaShachar. So, how does it start? It starts with the prayer of Esther Amalka. That Lamentzach Hayat HaShachar, Keli lama zaftani v'chok mishuati divrei shakati Elokai yakra yomam v'lo ta'aneh v'layla v'lo dumi ali. So Esther, this is the prayer of Esther that the Gemara tells us that she said this when she came into the Achashverosh's palace. After 3 days of fasting, after 3 days of preparing, knowing that she was putting herself into danger, knowing that this is the moment that everybody's been waiting for, this is the moment that everything is dependent on, that whether or not the Jewish people are going to be destroyed or not is depending on this day. So she came with trepidation, and she was ready to risk her life, because if he wouldn't have done this, put out his serpent, then it would have been the end of her, and she was risking her life in order to save her people. And she came in, and the first thing that she noticed was that Ruach HaKodesh left her. That until then, so she had been feeling this certain spirit of Hashem. There's a certain confidence, a certain kind of kedusha that was giving her strength. And then the moment that she came before him, so then it left. And she was frightened, she was terrified. And then that was this prayer, Keli, lama azavtani, why did you leave me? And then she continues that, like, she's crying out, she's trying to reach him, like she's like last moments before it's her turn, and like, Hashem, where'd you go? Come back. Elokai akra yomam v'lo ta'aneh, I call out and you don't answer. V'layla v'lo du'mili, and night, and it's from these words that we learn that there's a mitzvah to read Megillah both by night and by day. That I cry out by the day, I cry out by the night. And then the next pasuk is V'ata kadosh yoshev tilat Yisrael. So what is this switch? What is this this development, this evolution in the mentality of Esther Amalka? That what happened? That until now she was saying, Hashem, where are you? And then suddenly, like the very next pasuk is V'ata kadosh yeshev tilat Yisrael. Hashem, you're so holy. Like so, what happened? So I once saw a very beautiful thing from Rav Soloveitchik, Zechariah Livracha, that if we think about the word kadosh, what does it mean? What does it mean to be holy? So this famous Rashi. Rashi says that what does it mean? Kadoshim to you, prushim to you. That kadosh means to be separate. Because on a simple level, so something that's holy is not together with everybody else. Like the mundane is the mundane. So if you're holy, then you can't be with the mundane. So you have to be a little bit separate. Okay, that's on a simple level. On a deeper level, so when we say that Hashem is kadosh, so it's not just that He's so holy, so He's in the heavens, but what it means is that there's something very special about the fact that Hashem is not so present in our lives. And that's because there's a very strange, counterintuitive spiritual reality that goes that less is more and more is less. Okay, what do I mean? That when we're talking about Hashem, when we're talking about coming close to Hashem, so Hashem is infinite. So because Hashem is infinite, so there's a built-in problem that how are we supposed to connect with the infinite? So what's the answer? That the only way that we can connect with Hashem is if Hashem confines himself, if Hashem constrains himself, what we call tzimtzum. Hashem makes himself smaller. Once Hashem makes himself smaller, so then we're able to relate to him. Okay? And then we're able to feel him. Then we're able to connect with him. So the only way that we're able to connect is only if Hashem makes himself smaller. So because if we're trying to relate, we're trying to understand, we're trying to have some kind of grasp of Hashem. So the only Hashem that we can grasp is if Hashem makes himself smaller. So what if Hashem wants to be present in his infinite self? So what does he do? So the only way that Hashem can be present in his infinite self is only if he's going to completely hide. And if he's going to hide to the point that we're not going to be able to feel him, we're not going to be able to experience him, and we're not going to be able to see him in our lives. So that's what allows Hashem to be his infinite self. Okay? So that's what it means. That's what it means that more is less. When Hashem is more apparent, so he's actually appearing in a less holy way. And when Hashem is less apparent, so that he's actually present in a more infinite way. So this is really what we're saying, V'ata kadosh yeshev tilat Yisrael. What Esther realized is that the reason why she no longer feels Hashem is not because Hashem chas v'shalom has left her. It's the opposite. Is Hashem wants to be even more with her. Before he was with her in a level of Shechina, before he was with her in a level that she was able to relate, she was able to feel it, and Hashem felt that for whatever reason this is something so big that I need to be here in my infinite self. And the only way that I can be here in my infinite self is only if I'm completely hiding. If only. Oh, come on.
It's time to leave the filter.
Oh, it's time to leave this up. No. Okay, good. Very good. Okay, so Hashem said that for whatever reason, so now I want to be here in my infinite self. Because I want to be here in my infinite self, the only reason I can be here in my infinite self is only if I'm completely going to hide. Then you're not going to be able to feel me because I'm so big, not because I'm so small. So that's what she was saying. And this is what he adds. That this is why there's a custom that after reading the Megillah at the night. So this is what we say right after the bracha of Haravas Yivenu. So we all say V'ata kadosh yeshev tilat Yisrael. So where does this custom come from? This is because this is the essence of Megillat Esther. That if you really understood Megillat Esther, then you understand that V'ata kadosh, that when we don't see you, the reason why we don't see you is because you're here even more. It's because there's an infinite presence of Hashem that he's hiding behind to the point that we're not going to feel him because he's mamash there. Okay, so when we crack the code, so then everything is light. Then everything is, it's not just, before we were saying that there's no such thing as darkness because the darkness is just on the way. Now it's even more than that. Now, when we don't feel Hashem, it's because Hashem wants to be present in an even greater way. Okay, and this is I think something that an idea that I heard once from Rav Pinkus that it says that on Purim you have to drink Ad Lo Yada Ben Ar Haman Levarach Mordechai. Okay, so Rav Pinchas said that in Purim there's an idea that Baruch Haman and Ara Mordechai, which sounds crazy, that you're supposed to come to some kind of level that there's something blessed about Haman, there's something cursed about Mordechai. So Rav Pinchas explained that what could this possibly mean? That through the tzara, through the danger of this decree, so two things happened. Number one, so Hashem felt towards us a love that he had never felt before. Because there's a reality that a person that loves someone, so when did they feel the love the strongest? They feel the strongest love when that person is in danger. So when in history was there ever such a danger for the Jewish people that there was a decree that they should be destroyed? This was the greatest danger that the Jewish people ever experienced. And so the love that Hashem was feeling towards... But then it was always planned. It was always Hashem always knew the outcome. There was never it says that the sea was predestined to split already from the 6 days of creation. There's never.
But we were also obviously meant to be saved.
At a certain level, you're certainly right. But the Gemara does say that it was written in heaven. There was a decree written in heaven. They were supposed to be destroyed. And that it never says by Kriyas Yamsuf. It never says anywhere in history.
No, I was talking about
Chet Ha'egel. So certainly there was never a decree that we were supposed to be. It was a discussion, but there was never a decree. Right? So this is the greatest danger. Because it was the greatest danger, so it was the greatest love. And on the other hand, so because we were in such danger, so during those moments of tshuva, we were crying out to Hashem from the depths of our heart, and we felt such an inspiration. We felt such a closeness in the fact that we were coming back. So that feeling of closeness that we experienced, so that was something that we had never felt before. That to the point that when the Geula came, so we're all celebrating and we're all happy and we're saying, it's so beautiful. The Mordechai saved us. We're not going to die. But there's one thing I miss. And that if only I could go back to those tefillot when we were saying, Ana Hashem, Hoshiana, Hashem, please save us. That feeling that I was experiencing when I was crying out to Hashem from the depths of my heart, like I miss that. I wish I could feel that again. And that was the one thing that they were missing when they got to the Geula. And that's what it means. That what it means. Baruch Haman. Baruch Haman is that I realized that there was something awesome about the tzara. There was something awesome about the fact that I was in danger, because it allowed me to come to this closeness that I was never able to feel before. And I actually heard a true story. This is also true. Like Purim is also true, but a modern day story that's very relevant to this. There's a Rosh Yeshiva in Yerushalayim. His name is Ritzi Kaplan. So he's now married to his second wife, but his first wife, so she was an American girl from Muncie, and she had some kind of cancer, I think, that she passed away from, and he told a story about her at her funeral. It's a mind-boggling story. That he shared that there was at a certain point, so they needed to take from her bone marrow, and now we're talking about like at least 30 years ago. Okay, nowadays it's actually Baruch Hashem a very, very simple thing. My son actually donated bone marrow like a month ago and saved somebody, B'ezrat Hashem, and it's nothing. It's just taking blood. But 30 years ago, it was the most painful thing that you could possibly, the most painful medical procedure that existed. And so they were taking something out from her, and she managed, but then she was enduring the pain. And when they finished, so she went to the doctor, and she said, "Tell me something. Did you get it? Did you get exactly what you needed? Are you 100% sure that you got what you needed?" And so he said, "We got enough." I said, "No, 100%." And she said, lady, there's no medicine doesn't work like that. There is no 100%. So it's 99.7%. Like that's what we do. So she says, no, you need to do it. I want 100%. And she's later like, we don't work like that. This is what we do. And she starts screaming like, I'm dying. Like, how dare you tell me I want 100%? What? And like, I don't know how he was able to do this, but he agreed, and he did it, and he did it again.
Oh.
And so afterwards, like, so Tzvi asked his wife that like I didn't want to say anything because you looked like you were like in some kind of like craze, and but like what? Why did you insist that you do it again? Like, so since when do you not trust doctors? Since when do you not trust medicine? Like, and so she said a crazy thing. She said no, don't think for a second. I don't trust medicine. Of course I trust the doctors. Of course I trust Hashem. I don't think we need 100%. But I'll just tell you what happened. That during that procedure, so it was truly the most painful thing that I had ever experienced in my life. But I had never ever felt so close to Hashem like I did then.
What?
And when it finished, I said, no,
what?
I want that again. I want that back.
What?
And that's why she did it. And so this is mamish like a huge, like a modern day heroine but this is what it means Baruch Haman. This is what it means Baruch Haman, that like there's something awesome, there's a closeness that we can attain through the tzara that we can't attain through the geula, which is mamish like this is only on Purim. Only on Purim that can we reach this level that yes, I'm so happy about all of my.
We see it today with war in Israel. The only time that the Jews in Israel really unite is when we're in the time of help each other. Like, it doesn't matter if you're Filoni, Dati, whatever. It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
That's only
when everything's good again, then we go back to fighting. I said mamash. So this is I think that why it says that there's something very messianic about. In a good way. I mean, Mashiach. There's something Mashiach-y about. No, that's just as bad. About Purim, because the Gemara says the Midrash says in Mishlei that Hasidim call Hamuadim Lisbata, that all of the Yantivs, all of the Yom Tovim are going to stop existing, but Purim is going to be forever, because it says V'mei Purim ha'elu lo yesfu mitoch haYehudim v'zichram lo yasuf mizaram. And it says that these days of Purim are going to be there forever, and so we learn from this that Purim is going to last forever. So I was thinking, what's special about Purim? What's special? Why is Purim going to outlive all of the other holidays? Like when Mashiach comes in Latid Lava, because all the other holidays, so it's about a miracle. It's about we're happy that Hashem saved us from the Egyptians. We're happy that Hashem gave us the Torah. We're happy that Hashem gave us the Ananei Kavod. And the Purim is that there is no evil, there is no sorrow, the suffering is the excitement, the suffering is the celebration. And that's mamish what La'atid Lavo is all about, because the Gemara says that when Mashiach comes, that we're going to say that Hashem echad u'shmo echad. What does it mean? What does it mean Hashem echad u'shmo echad? It means that there's going to be a connection between the Aleph Daled. It's going to be the recognition of Hashem in the physical and Yud Kei Vav Kei. And just like in this world, in the regular non-Purim times, so it says when good things happen, we make Hatov HaMitiv. When bad things happen, we say Dayan HaEmet. But when Mashiach comes, when Latid Lavo, everything is going to be Hatov HaMitiv. It means the bad is going to be good. We're going to see that everything is perfect, that everything is a reason for celebration, and that's what it means. Hashem echad u'shmo echad. That there won't be this dichotomy between the good and the bad and the different names that somehow Hashem is hiding. That everything is going to be Ein Sof. Everything is going to be infinite. Everything is going to be present. We're going to see Hashem in the bad. We're going to be excited. We're going to be jumping for joy about every single element. So this is much deeper than what we said the first time. Like at first we said that the bad is a stepping stone to the good. Now we're saying that Baruch Haman. Now we're saying that there's a level of Adul Yada that we reach in Purim, that we're excited about when things don't go well, because now Hashem is hiding, because now Hashem is infinitely pure. Now we're connecting to something which is even more exciting than whatever we're trying to connect to before. So I bless us all that we should be able to to really, for at least one day a year, to reach this Adal Yada, to recognize that everything is so good, everything is so infinitely amazing, and that there is no despair, there is no reason to be upset, and we will see that Hashem will constantly be bringing through all of these tough times, will bring amazing miracles and amazing simcha, amazing geulot and yeshuot, v'nechamat b'ezrat Hashem.